Hey guys, like and subscribe to these videos. The more likes and subscriptions I get, the more I can do because it helps me generate revenue. Also, you can go support this by going to the Patreon link below. When you do that, you're basically supporting independent media. I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it. No one is influencing me on what I can or cannot say. And if I make a mistake, I'll admit it. I won't be like Rachel Maddow and breaking news. I'm going to find out about Trump's tax returns and then release these Trump tax returns aren't that big of a deal. And then release a statement saying, well, the viewers got overly hyped. That's their fault. Oh, thanks, Rachel. Appreciate you taking one for the team. So there's an article in the Los Angeles Times written by James Queally that came out March 21st. And it relates to, I did a story about a month or so ago about LAPD Chief Beck, who said that Trump's immigration law is bad for police. It's going to make communities afraid. If they think they're just all going to be rounded up and sent back across the border, they're going to be afraid to report actual crimes because they're going to be like, oh, the cops, if I report an actual crime, and this is exactly what's happened. They have the statistics. So the title of the article is Latinos are reporting fewer sexual assaults amid a climate of fear in immigrant communities, LAPD says. And Chief Charlie Beck said Tuesday that reports of sexual assault and domestic violence made by the city's Latino residents have plummeted this year amid concerns that immigrants in the country illegally could risk deportation by interacting with police or testifying in court. Beck said Beck said reports of sexual assault dropped 25% among the city's Latino population in the beginning of 2017, and that domestic violence reports have fallen by 10%. So he knew it. And other police chiefs and law enforcement people said this when Trump, at the beginning of the year, said I'm going to, round up 2-3 million and deport them all. Now they're afraid to come forward. Sexual assaults, I doubt that sexual assaults overall have decreased 25%, and that's why they're not being reported. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. And this is just more short-sighted, awful legislation by Donnie Trump. And the article goes into this. One thing that was done correctly in response to this is Mayor Eric Garcetti, who I've talked about before. I tend to like this guy. I hope he isn't or does not become part of the big corporate Democratic machine as he tries to climb his way up and maybe run for president. I hope. But he's staying pretty in line with the progressive constituents of Los Angeles, of which he is the mayor. So that's the one thing that sort of gives me hope. Obviously, this is horrible. And, I'll quote what the police chief said. Imagine your sister, your mother not reporting a sexual assault for fear that their family will be torn apart. That's what the police chief of Los Angeles said. So they're trying to do something about it. And in hopes of allaying those fears, Mayor Eric Garcetti signed an executive directive Tuesday expanding the LAPD's policy of not stopping people to question them about their immigration statuses to 3 other city agencies: the fire department, airport police, and port police. Now, I bet you that if any of those departments get a nickel of federal money, Trump is, he's already threatened to pull federal money out of sanctuary cities, and LA is one of them. The LAPD stopped approaching people solely to ask about their immigration status in 1979 under Special Order 40, a policy signed by then Chief Daryl Gates. Daryl Gates was a fucking dick. So if you watch the People versus O.J. Simpson, the Rodney King beating, that happened under Chief Daryl Gates. He was not very well liked by anybody of color in the city of Los Angeles. And one of the things that Chief Beck talked about in that article I did about him earlier this year was they learned through that order, Special Order 40, of just stopping and going after illegals. It made it worse. It made it harder for them to do their jobs as cops because then the whole community shut down. It's the same thing. I've talked about this with the Muslim community. If you just ban all Muslims and round them up and treat them all like criminals, why would they come forward about any information that would be useful in an investigation? So I applaud Mayor Garcetti for making a statement and expanding it to the fire, airport, and port police, because it's you now have people, like especially women, who are more vulnerable. If they know, oh, this woman's not going to report a crime, I can assault her. That's horrible. So in 2014, the city stopped complying with ICE requests to detain immigrants in the U.S. illegally who have been arrested for minor crimes, though police still will hold those suspected of violent felonies. And of course, I did a report that ICE has been knocking on people's doors and saying they're the police. Hi, we're the police, we want to talk to you, and then, oh, rounding you up. So it's making people even more afraid to come forward, and it's awful. So, yeah. Garcetti and Beck said they both have had conversations with ICE officials about how immigration agents' tactics might affect law enforcement at a local level, including the possibility that an aggressive approach would weaken trust between police and immigrants. Quote, if you want a safe city, we need the trust and cooperation of all of our citizens, Garcetti said. Yeah. This country we're all afraid of everybody and anyone that looks different and round them all up. It's going to make this worse. Wouldn't it be great if you didn't worry? You walk down the street. Is this person a terrorist? Is that person in the Klan? Is that person going to get me? Am I going to get arrested? Am I going to get attacked? Like, it's awful. And Trump just helps create this environment just to appease his constituents and Nazis like Steve Bannon. So if you have mayors and law enforcement that agree with this, tell them you support it. If they don't, show them what the city of Los Angeles is doing that has a massive, massive Latino community. Los Angeles is one of the most ethnically diverse cities on the face of the earth. And this is what the police chief is doing. Not some hippie town, not some hippie college town where it's a bunch of white college kids and, oh, yay, we're like, this has real crime. There's the Mexican mafia is here, the Russian mafia is here. Like, there's real crime here. And they're still saying that rounding up illegals is hurting their ability to make this a safer city. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your comments below. And again, as I said, I'll put the link to this whole article below. Thank you so much for watching.